welcome. My name's Jessica and I am from the company Garden Fresh Foodie, where I teach people how to make whole food plant-based dishes, and I'm going to be making a massage kale salad with you today. My goal is to help you understand how to make things that are really easy, simple, with easy ingredients, but have high nutritional capacity and low caloric density. So today, we are going to make a massage kale salad. So I started prepping some of the kale for you already. Here it is in a bowl. But oftentimes when you go to a grocery store and you buy pre-chopped kale, it has a stem already in it because the companies just quickly chop everything up. That stem can be bitter, and so some people are like, oh, I really don't like kale. But that's because they didn't have it prepared in the right way for themselves, and they didn't have the stem taken off. It is much less expensive to buy a head of kale and chop it up yourself. If you find that it's going bad or it's starting to turn on you, it freezes outstandingly. So now is a great time to buy local produce, to go to the farmers markets, to purchase locally grown, oftentimes organically grown greens. Kale is an amazing thing to grow for yourself. I'm a big advocate for growing your own food. For a packet of seeds, like $2, you can have kale from about April through the first time it snows. So even after it snows sometimes. So through November, it depends on what kind of weather we have. But it has a very long growing season, and when it gets cold, it even gets sweeter. So we're gonna take a piece of kale and we're gonna hold it at the end, and we're gonna strip that kale, very sexy. So you hold it on the end and you take your finger and you go right down the top, right down the stem, and you're left with the stem, which we're gonna discard because it's bitter. And then we have the kale itself, the leaf. So we're just gonna rip it up, and I'm just gonna continue doing a couple of leaves. Like I said, I've already done most of the head of kale. But it's real easy. You keep watching me just strip that kale straight down. You're holding the end of the stem and you're just running your fingers down the stem. Now, a lot of greens have stems like this, but you can actually eat them. So Swiss chard, the stem is great. It's crunchy, kind of like a celery stalk. So when I'm making Swiss chard, I will pre-chop the stem and I'll cook that a little bit before I throw in the greens. Greens wilt down and they kind of melt into whatever you're doing, and you want to keep them as bright as possible. So if you were cooking them, add them at the very end of your cooking process to maintain nutritional quality for it. My last stem right there, done. Okay, so now why it's called massaged kale salad is because I'm gonna rub it down with an acid lemon and a fat avocado. So most dressings on people's salads are packed with calories. If you're buying a pre-bought salad dressing, it's mostly fat, but fat from a non-nutritional standpoint. It is very high calorically and has no nutritional value. So I would rather enjoy my fat calories. So avocado is a whole food form of fat. Nothing processed on it. And what I say when I mean whole food, if you're eating olive oil, you are eating the extracted fat from the olive, not any of the nutritional qualities of the olive. So there's no fiber left, there's no nutrients left in it, just fat calories. And oil is 100% fat calories. It is like about 14 grams of fat per tablespoon. There is and there are 9 calories per gram of fat. No one is like, ooh, you know what this is? 500 calories of fat with nothing else. And we don't realize it when we're cooking with oil. You don't need to cook with oil to prevent sticking. I can show you other means of doing that. But for today, we're using this whole food form of fat. It's going to give us fiber, it's going to give us lots of great micronutrients, healthy fat calories, and I'm going to just cut through my avocado, and I made one slice. I'm going to twist it just like that, perfect avocado. You know it's nice when it is slightly soft but not squishy and not rock hard. If you buy an avocado that is rock hard, throw it in a brown paper bag with, it can go in with an apple or something else. All foods give off gases as they ripen and mature. And so oftentimes in the grocery stores, you'll get an avocado that's rock hard because if they ship them totally ripe and ready to go, they'd be mush once they got to the store and bruised and damaged. So we, if that ever happens, do that. It'll help give off gases and it helps itself ripen. So I'm gonna take this avocado and I'm not gonna scoop it out or anything. I'm just gonna smush it just like this. And the same goes true if you're ever making some awesome guacamole, do the same process. You don't have to scoop. This pit, okay, you're gonna take out the pit. If you are making guacamole ever, you can put that pit into the guac after you've done smashing it up, and it'll help it prevent browning. Also, what will help browning is if you don't finish the whole avocado, you're eating half of an avocado, take a lemon and just rub it on the outside of the flesh part, and it will help it from oxidizing or browning. We want to prevent oxidation. Oxidation decreases the nutritional level of the food, so we want to prevent that. I have a lemon here that I already used the zest on. The zest is the outer part. Used it earlier in a recipe. And I saved it because why get rid of it? I'm using it in another capacity. So always try to use your foods in different ways so that nothing goes to waste. So I'm going to take my lemon now and I'm going to squeeze it into my hand just to make sure that none of those seeds that are maybe going to come out. Whoop, I didn't get any. Squish, squish, squish. And what the lemon juice does is it acts kind of like a cooking agent to the grains. And I'm going to actually show you a green without lemon. Okay, so this is the color of it without lemon juice. And I'm going to show you that it's going to change color from the massaging, from the lemon juice going into it. It's kind of like ceviche, where it's a technique where people cook fish with an acid. And so it's just like that. It's going to almost taste like it's been cooked. It's going to soften. And now what I do, why it's called massage kale, is I just rub it. So I'm just taking my hands, wearing gloves, and I'm gonna add a little salt and pepper once I kind of break down that avocado. And you can see that the kale is really shrinking down on me as I do this, like it's being cooked. And it's changing color, and it's getting juicy. So the acid is actually going to soften the outer parts of the cell of the leaf. I'm a science teacher. Just got to throw in some science because there's science in cooking. And so I am just rubbing it down, and it shrunk so much. Adding salt to this, just a little bit, not too much, because of the fresh vibrance of the lemon juice and the nice fatty quality of the avocado. We don't have to go crazy on it. So it really shrunk down and it changed color. If you can see, it became darker. That's exactly what happens if you were to cook it. Some people have trouble digesting raw grains, but doing it this way helps you process it better, help you to absorb more of the nutrients in it. And I'm just gonna rub, and I'm gonna take a little bit of the salt right next to me. I'm just gonna snag another glove. Change my gloves real quick, because I'm a little messy. And toss in some salt, a little bit of pepper, and I like to add a little bit of crunch to my, my salad. And I would do this right before I was gonna serve it. So this will last in the fridge like 1 to 2 days after you've made it. The avocado starts to get a little funky, starts to turn a little bit, so I would sit down and eat this entire thing myself, really. I mean, you're eating an avocado, which is a bunch, so like if you split it, you're gonna feel full. When you eat fiber, you feel full. And that's the thing, most of us we don't get enough fiber. We're eating a lot of processed stuff that has no fiber in it, so we don't feel full. So we're like, oh, we're hungry again. So we're over consuming calories without us really realizing it, because we're not triggering our brain to say, hold up, slow down. So I'm gonna throw some of my pumpkin seeds in here. I keep seeds and nuts in the fridge or the freezer. because that helps them prevent, they have a good fat quality to them too, healthy fat, and fiber and magnesium, lots of different micronutrients in seeds and nuts, but they'll go rancid, meaning the oils in them will start to turn and become oxidized. So I keep the fridge and the freezer slows that whole process down. So throw any seeds or nuts in your fridge or freezer. And I'm just gonna shake a little bit of pepper in there. And extra secret, because it's basil time, we're still in summer. So I have some fresh basil from my garden. And I'm gonna rip up some fresh basil and just throw that in. It smells so good. So this salad, this is a base recipe. So basically it's 1 avocado, 1 lemon, the juice of 1 lemon, a little bit of salt and pepper to taste, and a head of kale. And then whatever other seasonal item that you have. You could do a slice of peaches in here. You could do a slice of apple in here. Put a little lemon juice on top of that apple or pear before you put it in here, because that'll brown too as it gets exposed to the air. And that's it. So this is like a base. In the summer, in the winter time, I might do oranges and dried cranberries. You could do dried fruit. Just make sure if you're using a dried fruit that you're getting it without added sugars, making sure it has natural juices added to it, not processed sugars. And that is it. This is our salad right here. I'm gonna just plate it up. And this is so nutritious, delicious. And I'll make it a little pretty. Put a little fresh basil leaf on top. And there you go. That's it. Massage kale salad. Packed with calcium. So dark leafy greens have a great source of calcium. Many times people don't think of them as protein. Great sources of protein. We added some additional protein from the pumpkin seeds. But dark leafy greens, any dark green, including broccoli, is a great source of both protein, plant-based protein, and calcium. Also iron and vitamin C. So hiding underneath this green, just like outside in our leaves, as the weather changes and the cold comes, the chlorophyll, the green part, dies out, exposes other colors underneath it, yellows and oranges, xanthophylls and carotenes. Those things are all in here, we just can't see them. So that's like carotene, like carrots. So we have vitamin A and vitamin E and vitamin C in here. Great thing, we added extra vitamin C from our lemons. So great sources of cancer fighting and disease fighting. Just what we need right now during a time of a pandemic. Another thing that if you're trying to look to cut down fat calories, just calories in general, really try to cut that oil out of your life. So if you weren't preparing a salad like this, and you're just making a quick salad for yourself out of the fridge, I use flavored balsamic vinegars for my salad dressing. We don't use anything else unless I want to be fancy and I'm having company or something. I haven't had that in a long time. But I would just use a flavored balsamic vinegar, which you can get in many different stores, because that cuts out all that oil, cuts out any of those processed calories if you're buying typical salad dressings from the grocery store. Another quick tip is that I love canning jars, and I'll pre-chop a lot of my things so I'm ready to go for the week. So I'll maybe fill a whole jar of like onions, carrots, so we can have a quick salad bar and just go shake, shake, shake. Everybody makes their own thing, ready to go. Quick thing to take with you for work or whatever it is that you're trying to do. So it's another easy tip, another way to save some calories. Eat your fruits and veggies and help prevent disease. Thanks for joining me, Jessica from Garden Fresh Foodie.